Okay. Okay. So this is the recap for Aapl. I did a video on this one before when prices were closer to our average, and this was kind of the thesis for how we believed it would play out. I didn't think this was going to happen so soon. I thought maybe with Apple's event on Monday, it would be somewhat of a sell the news event. There was a bit of a bid before going into it, a sell off as it happened, and then basically the next day the markets realized, holy shit, Apple is an AI name. And like I mentioned in the last video, there were clues that this was going to happen. And if you just had any common sense, this was definitely bound to happen. And why would you not be buying one of the laggers, but also one of the most financially stable companies in the entire world? When it's down and you're seeing other companies like Nvidia on the run up and Broadcom on the run up and Microsoft on the run up, it's just a matter of time that Apple's going to come into play, right? So if we also zoom out, which we always do, right? Apple's been in this range basically for the last year, right? And the longer that we'll consolidate into this range, the bigger and the more pronounced the move will be as we break out of it. So the fact that we jumped to 220, I didn't even see this coming because Apple barely trades this aggressively, but the amount of fervor that was behind this breakout was very exciting to see. So, what's next for Apple? Well, we have no intentions on selling this position because we have positioned ourselves in quite a good average. There's definitely room to place some options around it, but essentially, we did our job. We are in the driver's seat and we plan to hold. Right? In other accounts, as we get down to 200, there's definitely a level to play off of. It's just a matter of what happens with the markets at that point in time. So, just to recap, up unrealized 17,591 in this particular position. A video was posted about this quite some time ago, and I've done videos on some of our other positions. And if you're interested, go check them out. If you have questions, please leave a comment below, and I will definitely answer. In terms of our outlook for the future, I have no plans, and I don't think it's a good idea to be adding to these mega cap names. We are at all-time highs. I like to buy when prices are coming down, especially for these larger, longer position trades in the book. You want to kind of have some cash or be flexible and liquid enough to really be able to, put some size in when the rest of the markets are kind of freaking out. So we didn't have the best average. We were getting in quite early, but we knew you needed to have some skin in the game and we needed to endure what we were willing to endure and have a plan that we stuck to. And that is how Apple played out, which I'm quite pleased about. So we'll see how this goes. Right now, the plan is to hold, watch, and see. And depending on how things develop over the next few months and especially over the summer, then we'll decide what to do with this position as we have more clarity moving forward. So the way that we make decisions is, yes, we have a general and a broad plan and targets, yet when the point in time comes, it's very critical to think objectively and not fall for any sort of biases because you are in positions and attached to them. So essentially, you need to assess the environment objectively, and having a partner, which I do have, a business partner, is very useful for this because you're not stuck in a vacuum and bouncing ideas back off in your head. And essentially, you need to assess the environment and your position and how they relate with each other. Right, so it's unique for everybody. I'm sharing my trades and my thought process so that maybe you can find some value in some of the models that we are applying mentally to how we enter our positions. And it's been working, it's worked, and we continue to look for more opportunities and areas in the markets where we believe The reward is more outsized than the actual risk in the position, and somewhere where we feel like we can observe the environment and the investors who are involved as well, and gauge their emotional tone as to where they stand in relation to the actual equities that we are purchasing. So it's simple. It doesn't take a genius to do this, is the point, right? It's just objective thinking, focusing on the psychology, because that is very, very important, and putting some risk on the table, and managing your positions and allocating capital into the right places, and at the right times. So for now, projections moving forward, because we have a moment. We saw the ECB and the Bank of Canada cut rates. We know the Fed is much stronger than these two nations. So there is somewhat of a shift in tone, and we are definitely seeing somewhat of a slowdown into the US. So the question is, how quickly will it slow down? And will we continue to see more strength and sticky inflation, which I think is quite likely. But that being said, I believe the Fed is starting to focus more towards cutting rates, especially after their meeting today, which logically should be a reason to focus on small cap names. If you look at the Russell 2000, that can be your gauge to determine the strength of these moves into the small cap environment, and those might be the trades you want to look out for, or be ready for, or position yourselves where you can be wrong to risk a little bit, and if you are right, you are making a lot more than a little bit. So that is the update for Apple. Nvidia position, it went exactly as planned, and we sold it, I think, in the 1200 range as an average, and other positions are still on the channel, so subscribe if you'd like some updates and my thoughts. And I have a Discord room where I'm posting constantly like a crazy maniac, but it's all free, so send me a message and I can definitely send you a link to join.